Museum up at Farmingdale's Republic Airport. These are aircraft that helped win World War II. They're spectacular aircraft that as we see them come by, I want you to take a look and let me describe some of these airplanes. As we play some music that'll take you back to World War II from the big band era. In formation there, we see a P-40 Warhawk, we see a C-47 Goonie Bird, and we see a P-51 Mustang. The aircraft that is turning to the left and low in front of us with the stripes on the wing and on the fuselage is a Douglas C-47. Now, Douglas, just in 1935, changed the way America traveled when they developed the DC-3 airliner. But when America was dragged into World War II on December 8th, after the December 7th, 1941 attack on Pearl Harbor, the Douglas production lines were commandeered by the War Department, and the airliners were turned into aircraft that became among the most important weapons of World War II, even though they didn't carry any guns. And that was designated and said so by Supreme Allied Commander Dwight D. Eisenhower when he was talking about the four most important weapons of World War II, being the Jeep, the bazooka, the atomic bomb, and the C-47. Carrying troops, carrying equipment, and towing gliders. They were involved in almost every operation that was of importance to all of World War II. Carrying about 17 paratroopers, and those stripes that you see on the airplane right there from the aircraft, from the American Air Power Museum, those stripes were called invasion stripes. They were painted on all Allied aircraft on the huge amphibious and air attack on German-held Normandy, France on June 6th of 1944. It was a way to prevent our guys on the ground from shooting down our airplanes. Now, when we look at that airplane close up, well, it looks pretty nice, but they just slapped on the paint any way they could. Scooting by two of the premier fighters in all of World War II. One that was involved and being used by the British in prior to America's entry into World War II. That was the Curtiss P-40 Warhawk. The Brits called it the Kitty Hawk. And it fought alongside the Hurricanes and Spitfires of the Royal Air Force. And it was an important airplane that the Americans were providing for the Royal Air Force in their fight against the German Luftwaffe. In formation with that airplane is a P-51 Mustang, an airplane that first flew in 1940 and eventually became, in many people's minds, the best fighter in all of World War II. Depends on what you flew, but I've heard some arguments about that. Again, from the left, from the American Air Power Museum, brought to you by Newsday.
Yeah, it's right fucking loud.
And also the Cockpit. Cockpit USA, having a company that's been making leather apparel, jackets, and other apparel for the United States military for decades. Now, if afterwards you want to go over to the American Air Power Museum and check it out, or tomorrow over there, they're doing some raffles today for some Cockpit USA apparel, but there's also a buddy of ours named Dewey Larson who has the F-18 cockpit over there doing the Top Gun experience. Now, from the left, let's listen to the sound of these engines. I'll tell you more about it in a minute. What you heard there was something that is very rare. Number one, it's a piston engine. Number two, it's different from the engines that were on the C-47 as it flew by. In both of those airplanes, there is a liquid-cooled V12 engine. In the P-40 Warhawk, built by Allison. And in the Mustang, a Rolls-Royce or British-designed V12 engine known as the Merlin, but it was actually made in great numbers by the Packard Motor Car Company of New York City, of Detroit, Michigan, I should say, where they build over